dividing rational numbers. Now we go the other way. All right, our warm-up is to turn and do all the multiplication that we did yesterday. Hopefully you remember. Put it over 1, we get 15 over 6. Then we've got to turn that into a, we have to turn that into a mixed number, 2 and 3/6, or 2 1/2. One negative, one positive. I know my answer is negative 2 1/2. All right. You've got all the time in the world to work these out. Try them, then you can watch the video and see if you got them right. All right, that's from yesterday's video, which I did about 2 minutes ago. Let's go on. Learn to divide fractions and decimals. Today we talk about reciprocal. With the reciprocal, you literally just numerator in the denominator spot, denominator in the numerator spot. You flip them. When you multiply a reciprocal, you always get 1. When you multiply a number by its reciprocal. They're going to give you the big definition though. A number and its reciprocal have a product of 1. Hey, I said multiply by the reciprocal, you get 1. To find the reciprocal of a fraction, exchange the numerator and denominator. I said flip them, they said exchange. Remember that an integer can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 1. We always do that. All right. Number, there's the reciprocal. Number, there's the reciprocal. Number, there's the reciprocal. Because we knew 6 can have that 1 on the bottom. Very good. All right. Now, multiplication and division are inverse operations. They undo one another. 1/3 times 2/5 gets us that. Well, if I take 2/15 divided by 2/5, I'm back to 1/3. They are opposites. So, notice that multiplying by the reciprocal gives the same results as dividing. Let's show that. 2/15 times 5 seconds is 1/3. Oh. This and this are the same. They give us the same answer. 2/15 divided by 2/5, 1/3. 2/15 times 5/2, which is the reciprocal of that, gives us 1/3. Because I can reduce, that's a 3, because it divided by 5, we get our reciprocal. They have showed us a shortcut. So instead of saying we're dividing by 1/2, we could really think 5/11 times 2/1. That would be 10/11. We have our answer. Okay? They'll show it. No comma, common factors. Simplest form is 10/11. Now, before we do the multiplication here, or division here, excuse me, we need to think about this as being 2/1. Do our triangle method, 16, 19/8. Divide by 2, divide by 2, that's 4. 19/4, and I'm going to rely on you knowing how to turn it back into a mixed number. I'm going to do it and make it 4 3/19. And we have our answer, 4 3/19. Let's go ahead and look at what they do. There are, oh my gracious, I forgot to do by the reciprocal. That is why I had the problem. I left my 2 on top. I did not change it into 1/2. That was an error on my part. I'm sorry about that. So here, we have to think 7/15, not divided by 3/4, but times 4/3. There's no simplification that can be done, so we have 28 over 45, and we have our answer. Or at least I hope we do. I hope I have another time where I look dumb 2 times in a row. Here we go. All right. (28 over 45). Whew! This one I've got to remember. Triangle method. 20. 22 over 5. And it's not divided by 3 over 1. It's multiplied by 1 over 3. Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. All right. There's no simplification that can be done. 22 times 1 is 22. 5 times 3 is 15. And that makes for 1 7/15. Triangle method to get an improper fraction. Use the reciprocal. Notice the second number is the one we're always using for the reciprocal. Then we go on and we do our math. When they do their math, it does come out to the same thing since I did all the parts required. When dividing a decimal by a decimal, multiply both numbers by a power of 10 so you can divide by a whole number. That is going to be key. They moved that a power of 10, so you move the top a power of 10. Oh. So many times the first number is, or not many times, the first number is always inside. We're going to divide by 0.24. Before we start, I want to make this 24. I multiplied it by 100, 1, 2 to make it 24. Multiply this by 100, bring that decimal straight up. That'll go into 38, 24, one time. So 14, 144, it'll go in there 6 times. 144. 1.6 ends up being our answer. I am going to give you a very big suggestion. This is longhand, arduous math. It takes a while. Check it with a calculator. Please do the work, but then check it with a calculator. You don't have to redo it if it's wrong, but please do the work because it's good to know how to do longhand math. All right, 1.6 is our answer. Again, the first one is our dividend. It goes inside the house. The back one is our divisor. It goes outside the house. I want a whole number out here. I multiply by 100, 1, 2. Multiply by 100, 1, 2. All right, 50. So that's 25 times 2 is 50. Okay. We get 85, excuse me. All right. We do that, we'll go in there 3 times. That's 75. So that's 10. Now, I can see it'll come out nice and evenly if I put a 0 and I bring it down. 25 will go into 100 4 times. So that's 100. Hey, we're even to that. 2.34 is our answer. All right. We do the division and, oh, sorry. We get 2.34. All right. Evaluate the expression. Literally, they're telling you to put 0.15. When it is written like this, the top number, 5.25, is inside the house. 0.15, the numerator or denominator is outside the house. I want a 15, 1, 2. 1, 2, I multiplied by 100. and multiplied by 100, taking the shortcut method. 15 will go into 50 3 times. So that's 45. 7 and a 5. 15 will go into 75 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times that's 75. 35 is our answer. All right. Numerator, inside. Denominator, outside. All right. We do the division and we get 35. Here, when they say 5, we're going to write it big in blue, over 1 time, or divided by 4/5, we can think 5 over 1 times 5 over 4. 5 times 5 is 25. Divided by 4. That will be the same as 6 and 1/4. We turn this improper fraction into a mixed number. All right, let's show you what they did. Put those in there. All right, 6 and 1/4, because they had to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay. Another one of these, remember, they plug it in. They change them both there. The numerator goes inside the house, the denominator outside the house, and you get 3.4. All right. Again here, we're going to put the 9 in there. 9 divided by 4/7 is the same as 9 times 7 over 4. We do that and we get 15 and 3/4. If we did this math here, it would have been 63 over 4, and then it changes into that mixed number. Okay? Now, a cookie recipe calls for 1/2 cup of oats, and you have 3/4 of a cup of oats. How many batches of cookies can you make using this? This calls us to understand the important parts. 3/4 is what we have. We need 1/2 cup each time. So set up an equation. The amount of oats divided by amount for one batch equals the number of batches you can make. So let N represent that. Amount we have divided by amount that's there. Literally it means 3/4 times 2. So you can get 6/4 or 1.5 batches. And if we think about that, 3/4 minus 1/2, that leaves 1/4. 1/4 is half of 1/2. 1.5 makes sense. 1 cup of oats would make 2 batches, so 1.5 would be a reasonable answer. A ship uses 1/6 of its total fuel for a typical round trip. If there's 5/8 of a total fuel load on board, how many complete trips can it make? Well, let's see. We have to think 1/6, and you have 5/8 of its total fuel load right now. Let's see, set up an equation. Amount of fuel on board divided by amount of fuel for one trip. That'll tell us the number of trips. All right, so 5/8 divided by 1/6. Okay, that's the same as saying 5/8 times 6 over 1. Just took the reciprocal of that. All right, so that gives us 30 over 8, or 3 3/4 trips. So not quite 4 trips. Let's look back. Oh, feathers. 5/8 is a little more than half, so half of 6 is around 3. Pretty reasonable. All right, God's blessings on your math.